Drug court is a place for individuals that get in trouble by the law, and they have an option to go special court, which the special court is referred to as drug court, for those who have drug offenses. And it's a kind of a guidance or a babysitter for those who have an addiction. Some of the people that are in a drug court, not necessarily that they're bad people, it's just they took a wrong path in life and they need a little guidance.
And essentially what it is, it deals with people with addictions, obviously, that have felony charges, that are looking at either going to prison normally or at least a long suspended sentence. First-time offenders are able to work our program, which is a rehab program.
The team includes the judge, of course. It has the district attorney. It has a public defender. It has the treatment provider. It has a private attorney, law enforcement, any agency in the community, such as Delaware County. We have the J Public Defender, the Colcord Police Department, Grove PD, the Sheriff's Office is involved, any law enforcement agency, because they know their community. Every one of them has a physician at the table, and they bring these defendants in and can ask them any question. The defendant has to want to be in the program. They have to be willing to change their life. It doesn't work if they're not willing to come and want to change.
Part of what we do initially is trying to identify potential individuals that could benefit from the program. Second thing we do is evaluate them with the rest of the team, and they need to make sure that they're willing to make that change. They got to be able to look in that mirror and say, I have a problem, I want to work on the problem, and I want to start today. And if they can do that, in my book, they're a prime candidate for it. Starts off with screening cases to determine whether or not the option of drug court should be extended to a defendant and their attorney. We're looking for individuals that aren't just being charged with drug and alcohol crimes, but it could be situations where they're committing crimes to help feed their habits, or the habits are causing them to make bad decisions. So even if it's a larceny case from, let's say, Walmart, if we are looking at this individual, looking at their history, sometimes it's speaking with their family members, even their attorneys. If we find, hey, this individual has a significant drug and alcohol problem, then a lot of times we'll extend the option of drug court to them. So once those individuals have been identified, they will make application to the drug court. They'll be screened, and then ultimately once the screening process is done, they'll be evaluated by the drug court team. The individuals come in, we visit with them. The information that's shared there is confidential, so nothing that is said there is going to be used against them should it not work out. But we want to talk to them and try to identify further, is this program something they can do?
The other part of the program is treating the person, which a lot of these people come into our program without any education or high school degrees. We require that they get their GED at least. They have to work while they're in our program. They get their driver's license, and we will actually help them get their driver's license. Each of the participants, there's immediate accountability. In other words, oftentimes people will slip up, use again, and it's kind of expected, but there's a graduated sanctions which allows us to know that there might be a slip up, but we sanction based upon repeated offenses or repeated violations of our rules. A lot of rules. Oftentimes this is the first time that some of our participants have had any structure in their life at all. The purpose of the team is not to flunk people, it's to help people.
I give kisses out. I'm the kissing judge because I'm a firm believer that you have to give positive reinforcement to the candidate. They're not used to feeling love. They're not used to somebody giving them a pat on the back. We literally are taking baby steps with these defendants. It's truly a sanction and incentive program. Everything is kindness and love, and try to do the best you can do. I've been considered the hug-a-thug judge. I'm a firm believer that you have to start with baby steps.
Some of these individuals just need more or less a verbal pat on the back when you see them in the hallway. So I will do that with them. And sometimes they're a little scared. It's like, why is the prosecutor coming up to say hi to me? It's just like, how are you doing? Are things okay? Do you need help? And the team is generally very, very accommodating to them. We want to know how they are, what's working, what's not working. You know, I want them to realize, and I think the rest of the team does as well, we as a group want you to succeed.
One of the best stories in my drug court is literally one of our treatment providers. Mitzi amplifies what drug court's about. She was a candidate going through the process in the drug court. She now sits as one of the team members in our drug court. She lost her family while she was doing drugs, and now she's giving back to the community. She is a treatment provider, went to college, got her children back, and now gives back. She's been there. She is working with those who are struggling just like she was struggling, and that's what it's all about. Giving back, changing lives, and it's just amazing to see that. And that's what it is all about, giving back.
I was raised in a different type of society. My father was a criminal, my mother was a drug addict, and so I was raised that my values came from all negative and morals and values. I was taught to steal, destroy, manipulate, lie. I wasn't really given any positive values, and I got married at a very young age. And I thought that was a way out, and it kind of really just led me to a bigger path of destruction. I started smoking marijuana. My mother did meth, and so in my mind, I thought, as long as I'm not using meth, then I'm good. I'm not going to be like her. And I started smoking marijuana at 12, and after I got married at 16, had a baby at 17, and I did okay just smoking marijuana for a little while, but I had no skills. All I knew is what I had been taught. I started using methamphetamine at 24. My mother did methamphetamine intravenously, so I said, okay, as long as I'm not sticking a needle in my arm. I just kept justifying my addiction, and I just kept telling myself, as long as I'm not doing that, I'm okay. I got arrested at 25, so I wasn't using very long before I was arrested for my first time, and I was arrested in Rogers County. Never had visited that county in my life, never even knew where Claremore was. I was just passing through. And when I was arrested, that was my first felony, so it was like a slap in my face. But yet, my morals had always said that I was against the law, and the law was not my friend. And so I just, kind of was like, whatever, I'll charge that to the game. I lost my children, and I went to prison. And when I got out of prison, my life was gone. My husband was gone, my house was gone, my kids were gone. I had lost everything. And so my life kind of spiraled out of control. And what I did was a split sentence. So I did partial time in prison and then came out on probation. And I wasn't able to live right still because prison didn't teach me anything. I learned nothing there. It just was kind of a punishment to sit down for a little while. Came out on probation, and then I went in jail again. And when I woke up in jail, I hadn't seen my kids in 2 years. And I couldn't even tell you what age they were, which was very hard for me. I'm sorry. I haven't really talked about this in a very long time. And they offered me drug court. And so I was like, sure. And to be honest with you, it was a motivator to stay out of prison. But I knew I needed to do something different. I just had no clue how. I had no idea how. And so at first it was a struggle for me. I kind of battled with this, the authority for a little while, and I got sanctioned, and they sent me to treatment. And I was in treatment for 9 months. And when I was in treatment, I learned more about myself. I learned self-awareness. I learned coping skills. I learned what my triggers were, how to avoid high-risk situations, and I got my kids back. So it gave me more motivation to be something different because I had the opportunity to now be a mom, which was what I had lost. So I moved to Claremore and I went through the drug court program, and I worked at Sonic. And I remember walking to work and thinking, you know what, I am not gonna work at Sonic for the rest of my life. And I walked everywhere I went in that little town, and when I walked to Sonic, I seen RSU at the top of that hill, and I was like, I'm fixing to do something different. So after work one day, I walked to RSU and I enrolled in their community counseling program, and that's what got me on the path to where I am today.